This is the story of Muammar Gaddafi, and I'm not going to tell it in my usual way because some people say he was a revolutionary hero, others say he was a ruthless dictator. So today I'm going to tell you both stories and then you can decide. Muammar Gaddafi was just 27 years old when he overthrew Libya's monarchy. No bloodshed, no major resistance. Just one early morning in September of 1969, King Idris was gone and Gaddafi was now the leader of the revolution. To a lot of Libyans, that was the start of freedom. He kicked out foreign powers, US and British military bases, gone. Then he turned to the country's oil. He nationalized it. That move, it changed everything. For the first time, Libyans were not just watching their wealth flow out of the country. Gaddafi used the money to build roads, schools, hospitals. He made education and healthcare completely free. He launched massive housing projects. And if that was not enough, he built the Great Man-Made River, one of the largest irrigation systems in the world, to bring water to the desert. Electricity bills, practically free. Basic food items, heavily subsidized. Under his rule, Libya's literacy rate jumped from 25% to 80%. At one point, Libya had the highest human development index in Africa. But Gaddafi was not just thinking about Libya. He had this dream of uniting Africa. He wanted a single African currency, a continental military, and even a United States of Africa. Some people laughed at him. Others, they saw him as the only African leader that was bold enough to challenge the West. He supported the liberation movement across the continent, ANC in South Africa, rebels in Angola, fighters in Palestine. And when Nelson Mandela was released from prison, guess who he visited? Gaddafi. In 2009, Gaddafi became the chairman of the African Union, and the man who once called for Pan-Arabism had now fully embraced Pan-Africanism. He called himself brother leader, and he said he didn't need titles or offices because, according to his system, Libya was Jamahiriya, a state ruled directly by the people. His political philosophy, he wrote it all in the Green Book. He believed traditional democracy was fake, just a system of elites pretending to give people power. So instead of elections, he created people's congresses where Libyans were supposed to rule themselves. He even had an all-female bodyguard unit, made his own uniforms. See, Gaddafi did his things his own way, and some people said he was a genius. Others say it was all an illusion. But what can't be denied is under Gaddafi, Libya looked rich, bold, independent. To many across Africa, he was a hero, a man who stood up to the West, gave his people oil wealth, dared to imagine a different kind of future. But that's only half of the story. Gaddafi promised that the people would rule, but in reality, he ruled everything. That Jamahiriya system that he created, it looked democratic on paper, but real power stayed in the hands of Gaddafi and his revolutionary committees. Anybody who spoke out, they disappeared. Critics were arrested, tortured, publicly executed. There's footage from 1976. Students were hanged in front of their classmates on what Gaddafi called the Day of Judgment. People lived in fear. Ordinary Libyans were scared to even joke about politics. The secret police were everywhere, and if they didn't get you, the walls had ears. Then there was Abu Salim prison. Hundreds of detainees were allegedly killed. In 1996, over 1,200 prisoners were executed in one day. He banned independent media. He banned protests. He even persecuted ethnic groups like the Amazigh. He banned their language, bulldozed their villages, erased their culture. And while people lived under tight control, Gaddafi lived like a king. Gold-plated cars, all-female bodyguards, tents flown into 5-star hotels, endless uniforms. One year, he celebrated 40 years in power with a military parade that looked like something out of a movie. Outside of Libya, he was even more unpredictable. He funded rebel groups, terrorist organizations, militant movements around the world. For example, he backed the IRA. He armed Palestinian fighters. He was accused of ordering the 1986 Berlin discotheque bombing, which killed US soldiers. In 1988, he was linked to the Pan Am Flight 103 bombing, a plane that exploded over Lockerbie, Scotland. That one killed 270 people. That one event, it turned Libya into an international pariah. The US bombed Tripoli, sanctions followed, Gaddafi became known in the West as the mad dog of the Middle East. But in the early 2000s, he tried to fix things. He gave up Libya's nuclear program, handed over the Lockerbie suspects. He wanted peace with the West. But still, he never really gave up control. He tried to stay in power by grooming his son to replace him. And when the Arab Spring reached Libya in 2011, he responded like a dictator. His forces shot protesters. He promised to crush dissent house by house. That triggered a full civil war. NATO intervened. Tripoli fell. Gaddafi, he fled to Sirte. And then the end came. On October 20th, 2011, NATO bombed his convoy. He hid in a drainage pipe. Militia fighters found him alive. What happened next was captured on video. He was dragged out, beaten, slapped, sodomized. He begged for mercy, but his shot rang out. And just like that, the man who had ruled Libya for 42 years was dead. His body was stuffed into a freezer in Misrata and put on display. People lined up to see it. Then without ceremony, he was buried in a desert grave. Some called it justice, others called it revenge. So which one? Was he a revolutionary hero, a ruthless dictator, or both? That's the story of Muammar Gaddafi. Now it's your turn to decide. Thank you so much for watching. If you like stories like this, please follow me. I tell them all the time.